Honestly, like those big plasma those particle colliders, like that shit's honestly like since I don't really know about it, like
It
like
scares
what
you.
if they just what if they accidentally just fucking end the world? You know what I mean by like colliding
Yeah.
two
Well,
like
I
one
mean, when
part.
they were trying to discover the Higgs boson in the I think it was in CERN or whatever, there was like serious concern about this. It was in 2009. I distinctly remember it. It was in 2009 when they were building the Large Hadron Collider, and people were talking about. I think it like broke down because a seagull like dropped a piece of bagel in it or something like that. You should look this
What
up.
the
I'm pretty sure
fuck?
this happened. It was like a seagull dropped a piece of bagel in the Large Hadron Collider and broke it. And people were talking about like, holy shit, if it can break from this, like, you guys are gonna fucking kill us all. And they were afraid it was gonna create a black hole. And then, of course it never did. But I mean, those questions are scary. Like when you do shit like that you just have no idea what's gonna happen.
I looked up this article in 2009. Big Bang goes put as bird drops baguette into cone machine.
Oh my god. So I was right?
Yeah, a baguette dropped from a bird's beak shuts down the fucking this large machinery,
Oh my
the
god.
large
That's
hadron collider.
why
How
did
does
I
that happen? Like from where? Like what instrument did it hit that just totally shut down the whole thing? Like I don't
Yeah.
get it.
This is
Like
the shit.
it fucking like the bird dropped on the fucking like off button or something, dude.
Oh my god. This is the shit I remember. I just failed an econ test, but I remember an article from 2009 where a fucking
That's
bagel dropped.
like over a decade ago.
Oh my god.
Hey, welcome to Left in the South podcast. I'm your host, Pilot, also known as David.
What's up, guys? It's your boy Caleb. I'm back again.
This is episode 2 of the podcast.
Yeah,
Honestly, super excited for this one.
me too, man. I feel like our first one, we learned a lot. We're here to grow. You know what I mean? We're here to stay.
I
We're
mean,
here to fucking cultivate this shit like a nice, plant? Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I'm not saying it was bad, but it definitely wasn't any masterpiece.
I mean, what are you gonna do?
Sure. So, me and you've been talking about actually a plan for the podcast. We want to do 2 episodes a week, right?
Yeah, it's something we're thinking about. Honestly, like, there's a lot of like good popular podcasts out there, and like I mean, I go to school full time and have a job, and like Pilot goes to school, and we have a lot of shit to do. But I think we can still pull off 2 a week. I don't know,
Oh, I mean, for
especially
sure, yeah.
especially at the beginning. What I want to basically
Yeah, we
our
need to
our
think
idea
about.
for this podcast is we want to get a lot of episodes out early so that we can get better at it, and then just maybe go back down to 1 a week, or hopefully if people are listening by then we can keep doing 2 a week. But
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, I'm fine with doing 2 a week for like ever.
yeah, me
Honestly.
too, honestly, like,
I
because
think, they don't have to be the same.
yeah, I agree, we can do like, yeah, fuck it, we're just gonna go off, we're gonna talk about this off show, but yeah, we just want to let you guys know that we're thinking about gracing you with our presence, not just once a week, which many would say is already too much, but instead
Twice.
twice.
So, Douglas Sunday, Rick and Morty, man. Season 4.
Oh my
After how
god,
long?
it's
Like,
happening.
it's been like, what, 2.5 years or something?
I actually
like that?
don't remember. It was so. I feel like I was a different man when that
Yeah.
came out. Oh, you know what? Actually, I do remember when it was, because I was living in a dorm with my roommates, my ethnically ambiguous roommate, who was working for the NSA as like the NSA, right?
Oh,
The one
yeah,
that
yeah.
spies on people.
Yeah.
Yeah, he like worked for the NSA, and I distinctly remember the first episode of Rick and Morty came out, and he walked in and he said, I feel like I'm going to give away his ethnicity by doing an impression, and it's also racist, so I'm not going to do it. But he said to me,
The one I made a fan art of?
yes, it was. And he said,
Oh my God.
he was like, what are you watching? I was like, I'm watching Rick and Morty. He was like, is it a new episode? And he literally ran out of the room. I don't know where he went. And he was like, he just left. And he didn't come back for like an hour. And I was just watching Rick and Morty. I was just wondering where this guy went. So yeah, I mean, that's my Rick and Morty horror story. Living in a 300 square foot dorm with another adult man for like $900 a month. That's
crazy.
America, baby.
Yeah,
But
that
yeah,
was forever ago.
season what season is it? Season 4.
4.
I know everything about Rick and Morty. I feel like our fans
Yeah, I know.
need to know this about me. I'm a huge Rick and Morty fan. I know I can literally quote every episode verbatim. I know. Actually, you know what, Pilot? We should play a little game. You should go on the Wikipedia page for Rick and Morty right now, and let's do a little quiz. I want you to say the season and the episode number, and I'm going to tell you the title and what the episode's about. Okay?
All right.
I want to see if I can do it. It's been a long time since I've seen it, so let's see.
Season 2, episode 8.
Season 2, episode 8. That one is pretty easy, right? That is the shit, what is that one? I don't know. Do a different one. That one doesn't count.
Okay. Season 3, episode 5.
Season 3, episode 5. Oh, of course, man. That is the Gazorpazorps. No. That's season 1, episode 8. Season 3, episode 5. Obviously, that's the one where they go to the amusement park. And what was it called, though? That's the thing. Yeah. Oh, it was called the Whirly Durly Conspiracy because him and Rick go to the thing and he rides on the Whirly Durly and then it goes away. Episode. Yeah, that was a good episode. Let's try another one. See if I know. This is bad, right? I shouldn't know this. What was the first one, by the way? Season 2, episode what?
8.
Okay, I think that one is. It's either Interdimensional Cable, or it's the one where they go to the Purge planet. I'm pretty sure it's Interdimensional Cable, though.
Yeah, it was Interdimensional Cable 2.
Yeah, the second one. Okay, that's the worst episode of the series, probably.
So, what about season 1, episode 4?
Season 1, episode 4? Let's see. Season 1, episode 1 is the pilot. Season 1, episode 2 is the lawnmower dog one. Season 1, episode 3 is Anatomy Park. So season 1, episode 4 is the alien one. But what was it called? M. Night Shyamalians, right? Yeah, because they go
crazy.
Fake one. Yeah. Okay, we can stop this. I shouldn't know this much about this show.
Caleb has been watching so much Rick and Morty. Like, we just be talking and I can hear an episode of Rick and Morty playing in the background.
It
was for like weeks, maybe even months. It was.
Yeah. I'm not ashamed of it, dude. I mean, I feel like season 4 is just. I have a bad outlook on it, man. I feel like it's gonna suck. You know what I mean?
Really?
Yeah, because I don't know if you know about Justin Roiland, the guy who writes the show, but he's kind of like the stereotypical like tortured genius. Like, he thinks his comedy is really good, and like he just has this like idea about himself, which is good for an artist.
Is this true?
Yeah, I mean, he's a very like cocky guy. He's like famously hard to work with, right? But I mean, like that means that his art is usually really good. But I think that a lot of times what happens is like people like him get burned out, and like people that are really naturally good at something, that have a talent for something, they get to a really high place, like they get signed by Adult Swim, for example, and then they just lose all of their interest in their project because they're like on top, you know what I mean? So I have a feeling that it's gonna suck, but I would love to be surprised because I'm a huge fan of the show. Also, can we talk about the fact that BoJack Horseman is really just a better show? Have you seen that?
Yeah, I love BoJack.
For the people that don't know, BoJack is like basically follows the the life of a depressed anthropomorphic horse who's half horse, half man, hence the title. And it's basically, it unironically is like a really good view of like mental health like problems in society, and I think it's a great show, and I think it's better than Rick and Morty in almost every way. And yeah, so I mean, I'm excited to watch it. You want to have a watch party on Sunday? Tomorrow.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, a live watching of
tomorrow. It's tomorrow, dude. It's happening.
I know, dude. It's been forever. Dude, I mean, I like BoJack and Rick and Morty equally, I think. Yeah. They're both pretty good shows.
Yeah.
I mean, Rick and Morty is just funny, and BoJack's like, oh shit,
BoJack's a thinker, man. Yeah. I don't like these fucking nerds that try to pretend that like cartoons can't be evocative or like can't make you, think about life, because BoJack Horseman it's really funny, it's animated, and it actually does have a lot of like hard-hitting topics in it, you know what I mean? Sure. Like, it's serious things that you have to think about in your actual life. I don't know. Fuck those nerds. Like, if you don't like anime, stop listening to the fucking podcast right now. Just turn it off and delete. I don't want to see your shit on my Twitter feed.
Honestly, like people make fun of me for watching like shows like Adventure Time and like Steven Universe, but honestly, those shows are really fucking good. Like even though they're on like Cartoon Network and like that's for babies, bro,
Monk
like
ass.
they're pretty good shows, dude. Like not
I
gonna
don't know.
lie,
I've never
give
seen
it a
Steven
try.
Universe, but
Give it a
I'm down
try.
to watch it. I've never seen Steven Universe, but I'm down to watch it. You want to have like a gay orgy watch party, Steven Universe? Question mark.
I'm down to put my DP in your bowl.
Oh
If that's what you're asking.
shit! Oh, that sounds like a great idea, man. I mean, what else is going on these days besides Rick and Morty, though? I mean,
Um,
for all the
hear about
non-intellectuals,
hear about what the Trump administration proposed?
I've heard many things that the Trump administration proposed.
So one of the things they wanted to do in national parks is they want to bring like Wi-Fi, food trucks, and Amazon deliveries into like Yellowstone and other national parks.
Okay, what did they say the reason?
They just want to modernize national parks and like make them more. It's 2019, not 1930s.
Not, the haven of nature that natural parks are supposed to be.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Dude, that's such a fucking neoliberal, like, hell idea, you know what I mean? They're
Yeah,
like, we have this beautiful, protected outcrop of land, untouched by man, where life can just flourish the way that it was meant to without the corrupting touch of man. And then they're like, fuck it, just slap a fucking McDonald's, a Starbucks.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
if I can't take a luxury shit in a Starbucks bathroom in the middle of Yosemite Park, then what is America? What is capitalism giving to me if I can't eat a fucking slushy? I eat my third slushy of the day while I'm walking up the Matterhorn. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What is the point of life if not that?
A lot of people obviously don't agree with this, and I don't really think like anything like this is gonna go through.
No,
Like obviously, national parks are there to protect the wilderness, and like if we just have construction there, and like it's
Yeah.
gonna be bad for the
I
environment.
mean,
it's gonna
I'm
be bad
not
for the
so
animals.
against the idea of having like Wi-Fi there, right? But I mean, having like Amazon
Well, still
deliveries.
setting up Wi-Fi, you're gonna have to add infrastructure for
Yeah,
that.
exactly. Yeah, like what is the point in having protected areas if you're just gonna say, oh well, we're gonna make exceptions for the things that we like? Because eventually you're just gonna be like, well, fuck it. I mean, we have Wi-Fi, we got a Starbucks down the street, we got Amazon trucks coming in. Fuck it, just build a fucking parking garage and just build some house. Like, what is the point?
Like when are you gonna stop? You know what? Let's add some houses to the area. Maybe
Where
a
does
park.
it end? God damn it. Yeah, that is.
Speaking of food and restaurants, did you hear about the Southern Carolina restaurant manager? He's being sentenced to 10 years in prison for enslaving a black worker.
What?
Yeah.
Wait, what do you mean enslaving? Wait, this happened recently?
Yeah, this is recently. So basically,
Carolina?
what he's been doing
Or
for
South
5
Carolina?
years, this black worker has he's like mental retardation, right? He's basically disabled in the head, and for 5 years he's been forcing him to work more than 100 hours a week without pay.
What?
And he's beating him with a belt as well.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Wait.
He's
Oh
only
wait. So hold on.
sentenced to
The guy, the black guy is retarded. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Jesus, man, what the fuck is going on in South Carolina? Wait, so you're saying that he like kept him in his basement, or like did he live at the restaurant?
He has a restaurant. No, he has a restaurant. He worked at the restaurant.
Yeah.
For 100 hours a week without pay. And
What
this guy
the fuck?
for 5 years.
What the fuck?
Getting-
For fucking 5?
Yeah.
How did he get
First,
away
like,
with this?
I don't know.
Who
I
the
don't know.
fuck is living in South Carolina? They just walk in, they're like, oh, Jerome was working the morning shift and the fucking night shift for 7 days in a row. I probably shouldn't tell anyone about this. They walk in, I feel like fucking Jerome walks up to them and says, what can I get for you? And he can't read or write. And he's
Right,
literally
yeah.
just like taking notes with a fucking crown, drawing pictures of what they want. And then he comes back for 5 years. I don't understand what's going on.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like,
So he got caught, obviously. That's why
Yeah.
the story is in. So what happened to him?
he got sentenced for 10 years, and in addition to getting sentenced 10 years, he had to pay over $500,000 in damage.
Oh, that's
And
it?
$272,000 in back pay he never received.
200. Okay, so, I mean, at least the guy's getting paid, but, like, what?
I just want to know, like, how did, like, this situation even happened in the first? Like,
Yeah.
how is he working 100 hours with no one? Like, who's his caretaker?
Yes, like where is he living? What is going on? So like, did he go home at the end of the day after his fucking 16-hour shift? Did he go home? Like, where is he going? Who is responsible for this man?
Still trying to figure this out. I'm like looking through the article. Apparently, he was a dishworker.
Oh, okay. So he's working in the back
for 1990 at the age of 12. So he's been working there for basically like forever.
Yeah. Wait, 90. Okay. This is just, I can't even believe what you're saying right now.
Yeah, I can't believe this is even like, I can't believe this is a real article that I'm looking at right now.
I don't really get how that's possible.
And then he also gets beat like who, like for one, like why is no one why is none of his coworkers like, first of all, like trying to help him?
Yeah, or
like,
do they
notice
not know?
this abuse?
Yeah, like I feel like if you come in for your morning shift and like you see, I mean, okay, I don't want to sound insensitive, but like usually obviously if he's getting beaten and like enslaved, I don't know the backstory, but it seems like he probably has a severe mental disability. Like, you know what I mean? Because the average person is not going to endure that when there are so many other options. So it makes me think that he was very mentally retarded. So like you walk in and you see this guy who is like extremely mentally retarded, and he's like, what? How do you not say anything? Like, are you kidding me? No one did anything to help this guy at all?
Yeah, and apparently, I'm looking through this article, there's a quote, he would dip metal tongs into hot grease and burn the victim's neck for failing to deliver fried chicken to the buffet quickly.
What the fuck? This is horrific, Pilot. Why are you telling me this? That's crazy.
That's crazy. Like, something like this is happening in the year 2019.
In South Carolina, the biggest shithole of the U.S. It's the second biggest one because Mississippi exists. But, like, still, holy shit.
Do you remember in 2013, I think it was, or like 12, where Mississippi like finally like signed the thing to like end slavery?
Yeah, because they still had slavery like enshrined in their constitution. That's crazy. Actually, that's a really good point. Have you ever heard of these like weird laws that are on the books that just never get taken off, but they're like for random ass shit, like
how you're not supposed to have like ice cream in your back left pocket on a Sunday at like
yeah, exactly PM. Or like you're not allowed to like dust a rug on Sundays between the hour of like 3 p.m. and 7 p.m. Like I don't understand, first of all, how these laws ever even get created in the first place, and then is it like, could you actually enforce these laws? Like, I know in Tennessee, for example, where I live, there's a law that you can't hunt deer out of a moving like on the back of a horse. Basically, you're not supposed to hunt on the back of a horse, and obviously that's a pretty antiquated law. But like, if you did that, would you actually like go to jail, or would you? I don't get it.
I don't think so.
It kind of calls into question
because the officer isn't going to stop you. He's like, wait a second, you're holding a ice cream in your back left pocket on a Sunday at 7:30 p.m.
Yeah,
like you're under arrest.
No, they would just it's fucked up and also kind of funny, but also mostly fucked up. That really what they would do is they would only use those laws to like police black people, basically, just like they already do. They'd be like,
these laws were replaced.
These laws were replaced
because like they had an instance like it was a small trial, and like the judge was like, you know what, that should be a law. This shouldn't happen ever again. Yeah. And like for whatever reason, like the reason why you can't have an ice cream in your lap pocket is because someone sat down on someone's couch and like they're in civil court for it now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, back then that's how they made laws. Someone just came in the courthouse. They're like, my cousin Jimmy fucked my coconut, and he got a rash on his dick that spread throughout the household like wildfire. And then the judge is like, oh, well, golly gee me, I guess we ought to fucking legislate against this so Bobby Jean and fucking Billy Martin don't go doing the same thing, because I saw them getting frisky with a coconut on Sunday on 3rd Street at 7:30 p.m. Fuck it. We should just make it illegal to do it at that specific ass time. And then they just did it because, there's 3 white guys and like a poor young like law student that's just trying desperately to fucking stay awake.
Yeah.
And those are the only people that decide the laws that govern every single person of
Yeah,
the city of
those-
South. I mean, the state of South Carolina.
Yeah.
What a lovely world we live in. You know, on that note of the note of stupid laws and ridiculous courtroom proceedings, I hope that you have not heard about this because it's gonna make your day worse. But I'm about to tell you because I hate you. And so basically, have you heard about this man in Texas, Rodney Reed?
No, I've not heard of them.
Well, you're buckle up because this shit's about to upset you. Basically, right now there's this big campaign. Basically, Rodney Reed is convicted in Texas of killing someone and raping them, and this happened in the 90s. I don't remember the exact year, but in the 90s he was convicted of raping someone, and Texas is preparing to execute him. And basically, what happened was he's totally innocent. I mean, to put it simply, I mean, Texas is ready to execute him on the 20th, and the story just continues to get worse and worse. So basically, this is from The Intercept. Rodney Reed was convicted and sentenced to die in 1998 for the rape and murder of 19-year-old Stacy Stites 2 years earlier. On April 23, 1996, Stites was found dead. Her body was dumped on the side of a country road outside of Bastrop, a small town roughly a half hour east of Austin, Texas. She was partially clothed and lying face up, her arms above her head. Marks on her neck led investigators to conclude that she'd been strangled with a length of braided leather belt, a piece of which was left nearby, and sperm was also collected from inside of her. So obviously, terrible, heinous crime.
Yeah.
This is awful. I mean, a 19-year-old murdered. Terrible.
Murder.
Yeah. So basically, nothing happens for a year. The case is cold. Nobody knows what happened to her. And then basically, on a hunch, they're like, hey, because cops are usually not smart, and these aren't either. They're like, hey, remember that literal semen that we got out of this woman's vagina that we found dead on the fucking side of the road half clothed? Why don't we test it for DNA? So they did, and who else but our boy Rodney Reed was, his DNA was found, and it is basically the one thing that they needed to prosecute him. So the DNA matched, and they went to trial, and he instantly basically was found guilty because the DNA evidence was seen as, yes, it was seen as basically so damning that, I mean, they got him, you know what I mean? They got him, boys. They fucking got him. And
case closed. But
here's the problem. He is denying that he did it, obviously, and the timeline is like all fucked up because from the beginning, this is from The Intercept again. From the beginning, the state's theory of Stites' murder was a problem. On the day she died, Stites was slated to work at 3:30 a.m. at Bastrop Grocery Store, which is that place that she was found dead. She was living in the nearby town of Giddings, about 30 minutes northeast, in an apartment she shared with Fennell, who was a cop there. She never made it to work. So she was supposed to go in at 3:30. She never made it. Several hours later, Fennell's pickup truck, which Stites allegedly drove to work that morning, was found in the parking lot of Bastrop High School. Her body was found that afternoon several miles out of town. Based on this set of facts, the state came up with a theory of her death that hinged on Reed's DNA being the result of a stranger encounter. Stites left the apartment sometime around 3 a.m., driving towards Bastrop. Along the way, Reed on foot somehow stopped her, attacked her, raped and strangled her, and dumped her body before driving into town where he parked her truck at the school. So, that's interesting, to say the least. So do you understand what I'm saying here? Basically, what they're saying is that Reed, he was walking along the road for some reason. He somehow attacked a woman who was driving her car down the street. I guess he like pulled a GTA 5. Like, you know in GTA 5 when you can just press E next to a door and the car will just come to a complete stop? This man unlocked that cheat code in real life, and he just, I guess, just stopped her and raped her and killed her and all that. So, I mean, that, first of all, that's a little, it seems far-fetched, but I guess, like, maybe he did something else. We don't really know what happened. And, I mean, yeah, it is pretty damning that his DNA was found inside of her. You know
what it sounds like to me? You know what it sounds like to me? Rodney Reed had sex with this woman, right?
Yeah.
And her husband killed her for it. And, you know, that's, or the semen that they found isn't actually even Rodney's DNA, and it's actually the cop's DNA.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you said that because it gets crazier. So basically, after they found out his DNA was in her, they immediately obviously knew that they got him. So they questioned him. Reed denied knowing her, the woman who was killed, but after some questioning, he admitted he was having an affair with her, which would explain the presence of his DNA. The two had had sex just days before she was found dead. So, obviously, that's a big fucking reveal right there. They were having an affair. Now, he lied about it at first, which is weird, but it's not that weird when you think about it, because her husband, Fennel, was a cop, and he's being questioned by cops. He's also black, and it's the 90s, so this is like, Rodney King time, and like, it's bad. So obviously he lies about it, but they don't believe it. His testimony was not good enough, apparently. So and also, another wrench into the system was that when they went to question people in the town, this is over a year after the murder took place, they went to question people in the town, and some people testified, but there was like one woman who referred to the girl as Stephanie instead of her actual name, and some people said that they knew about the affair that Reed was having with Stites, and that Fennel, the cop that she was with, apparently found out about it and threatened him. So that's interesting too.
Well, I mean, it's a case from like, the 90s. Like, it's really he said, she said at this point.
Yeah. Well, it's not though, because they have DNA evidence, and like.
Well, yeah, I mean, they have DNA evidence and they know the affair happened, but like.
Yeah, but basically by admitting that he's having an affair, he's opening up the possibility that the sex was just consensual, and then she happened to be murdered. Instead.
What I'm trying to say is like they can't find any more physical evidence. So like maybe there's blood in her apartment, right? Or wherever she was staying at. Yeah. That could be, wait a second, guys, there's blood in her apartment. She has an abusive boyfriend or husband.
Right, yeah. And I mean, like, I don't know, but the cop thing is interesting, you know what I mean? Like,
I mean, obviously, yeah. Like, they're backing the cop,
Yeah, obviously. And basically, like, the whole timeline that they were using was actually provided by Fennel, the cop, her husband. So he says that he wasn't awake when she got up for work, but usually she would leave around 3 a.m. or so. He said that he and Stites had been home alone all evening, and the police never searched their apartment, even though it was the last place that she was seen alive. So, interesting. But of course, Fennel is a cop. Let's not forget that. So, I mean, he's a cop. Also, let's not forget the fact that 40% of police actually beat their wives. So, and also that's only the ones that get caught. So, yeah. Anyway, so this is it's looking bad for Rodney. They are planning on executing him 10 days, but might I just offer a suggestion to Texas? Okay, first of all, fuck the governor of Texas. He is human pond scum and should just be deleted. Period. But second of all, obviously the death penalty, but also that in a game in Minecraft, and this is satire, so it's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, so also, I mean, of course, the death penalty should just also not exist. But even if you want to keep the death penalty, okay, this shit is ridiculous. Might I suggest you literally just investigate the person who lives with her. The fact that they did not search Fennel, the cop's apartment, is ridiculous. Don't you think, Pilot?
Yeah, I mean, that's crazy. I mean, and since they have the belt markings on her neck, they can obviously test the strangle. Like, maybe, I don't know, they can check the markings. I don't know, because, like, you know how sometimes a bite victim, you can check, like, the teeth stuff, even though that's not that accurate. But it's, like, a sense of that, you know what I mean?
What you're saying, Pilot, is basically just, they could have done anything, like, literally anything. Once they got the DNA evidence, they just gave up. They knew that they had their guy. He was a black guy with some eyewitness testimonies of really people that had no idea what the fuck they were talking about, said that they saw him, so they just fucking arrested him, and he's been in prison since this happened. So he's been in prison for like how long, 20 something years,
almost 30
for
years,
a crime that he may not have committed. You want to hear some really crazy coincidence? I guess not a coincidence, because fucking cops do this all the time, but Fennel, the cop, in 2008 pleaded guilty to kidnapping and improper sexual contact with a person in custody after he raped a woman at gunpoint named Connie Lear against the back of his patrol car. After it was over, Fennel threatened her, saying, when he got done, he told me that if I told anyone, if he went to prison, when he got out, he would hunt me down, he would use his gun and kill me. Fennel was sentenced to 10 years. So this guy got, for raping someone at gunpoint as a cop, he got 10 years. And this is the guy that lived with Stites at the time that she was murdered. This guy fucking did it, dude. It's so obvious. But even regardless of that, regardless of that, this Rodney King guy can't, I fucked it up. It's ironic that I would say that, but this Rodney Reed guy, he cannot be fucking, there's no evidence. They have nothing against him. And this Fennel guy fucking did it. Yes, all they have is the DNA.
The affair, is like, obviously they had an affair.
Yes.
Women in vagina.
Yes, and especially the fact that the witness, don't forget about the witness. Remember, the witness even said that Fennel found out about their affair and threatened Reed, the guy who is in prison right now. So
they know each other.
Yes, so they knew each other. He knew about the affair, allegedly. He knew what was happening, and he fucking killed her. Is it not obvious? And then in 2008, he almost got away with it again. And luckily, he went to prison, but he's out now, by the way. He got out in 2018. Really? Yes, because he only did 10 years for raping a girl as a fucking police officer in his custody. You might remember that story because it was on the news. It's crazy that this guy.
Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah.
Yes, that was a huge story, and that was him. He fucking killed her. It's so obvious. The fact that this guy is. Yes, and Rodney Reed is gonna die for it, dude. If they execute this guy,
this guy's gonna die. And in 2008, honestly, he did something what I would say is even worse.
Yes, it is worse. It's absolutely worse.
And he only got 10 years. And this guy's gonna die for what he did.
Yes, and exactly.
There's not even evidence, for it. What?
There is no evidence, and he's going to die for something that is. It's ridiculous. I cannot believe, when I read this story, I could not believe it. It's almost like fucking, this is literally like To Kill a Mockingbird, bro. Like, if I was
gonna say, this reminds me of To Kill a Mockingbird. Like, yes. Oh my god, dude.
It's ridiculous.
This is insane. In 2019, Kill a Mockingbird, dude.
Yes, it's unbelievable. And there's a huge outcry for this guy. He needs to fucking be released immediately. Like, he is so obviously innocent. And it's just unbelievable to me that the federal government needs to do something. What can we do? Like, someone needs to help this guy. We need to break him out. It's ridiculous. The fact that he has lost 20 years of his life already, that is already a fucking crime right there. He's been sitting in a cell for something he didn't do for 2 decades. That's already punishment enough.
I feel like, Texas, they're like the Lone Star State. They want to. Yes. They're not going to allow. They're right. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. They execute the most people in the country by far. Every year. But I don't know, man. It just, I hate this shit. This country is a fucking hell world.
Hopefully, he doesn't get killed.
Yeah.
I was looking at the article and I saw that there's a chance.org to free Rodney King, or Rodney Reed even.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, there is a petition to get him freed. I recommend everyone listening to this sign it. I guess if you don't listen to this before November 20th, hopefully you can Google search Rodney Reed and you're going to read an amazing article saying how he got away and he, got paid $10 million by Texas and now he's living his life out in the fucking cabana. I hope that's what you're going to read, but if I had to make bets on it, I would say that they're going to fucking kill this guy. An innocent guy is going to get killed in front of all of us, and we're not going to be able to do shit about it, and everything's just going to continue on like nothing happened. Just like it fucking does every time, dude. It sickens me. I went
ahead and already signed the petition.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, definitely do that. If you manage to listen to this before the 20th, do that. And I don't know if I can legally say this, but if this guy gets killed and you live in Texas, I'm just saying, this cannot stand. This cannot stand. This is something that I would argue you need to immediately take action about. Peacefully demonstrate whatever you want to do. This cannot exist.
You know that Boondocks episode where the guy was about to get executed, but then the city's power went out? You ever watch the Boondocks?
No, but.
It was crazy. God. So basically, as soon as this guy was about to get executed, the entire city's power went out at 11:59. He was gonna get executed at 12. I thought it was funny. Like Texas, like wherever this execution is being held, like go ahead, just
Yeah, go ahead and cut the power so they can't electrocute. No, you need to like go in and like, because now they use drugs, don't they? They're probably gonna lethal injection him. You need to like find all the distributors for like the lethal injection drug and go and like fuck up their stock so they can't sell it. That's the thing. Oh shit, but they get all of them from overseas now. Did you know that, by the way? A lot of I don't know if it's China, but like a lot of pharmaceutical companies won't sell the barbiturates that they need to do the lethal injection, so they have to order them from overseas. That's pretty ironic, isn't it?
Crazy. I mean, yeah, because like, isn't lethal injection like banned in like a lot of states?
Yeah, it's banned in a lot of states, and also like the drugs that you need to produce to make them are banned as well, or to do them are not. You have to have like a special license to make them or whatever. So a lot of companies don't make them here. So they have to outsource to foreign countries to get their murder drugs. It's ridiculous, man. I don't know. This shit made me sick. I really hope that I listen back to this podcast in a year and I get to have good news about this case, because this shit is sickening. And this happens all the time. I mean, the fact that we keep saying Rodney King on accident is just... It sucks that it's just par for the course, you know what I mean? Like, this shit happens all the time, and we don't do anything, and nothing changes. What can you do to stop this kind of stuff? I mean, the people that are supposed to protect us are the ones... Yes, exactly. That's all we can do is just hope that someone does something about it. Someone that we elect does something about it. And I mean, to some extent, people are culpable. I mean, see something, say something, man. Like, help your people out. People need to stand up for each other. That is absolutely true. We need to have a class consciousness as people that are being literally subjugated by Gestapo-esque police force that is literally existing just to protect capital. Like, individual police are not all bad people. I'm not saying that at all. But the police as an institution exists. It does not exist to help you. Does not exist to protect you. It exists to keep control over the working class, basically, over the lesser human beings of society that cannot fend for themselves, so they have to rely on these institutions. But because they rely on them, it means that they're very vulnerable to corruption within these institutions. And I dare to say that our police institution is disgustingly corrupt, and it needs to be abolished, and immediately. It needs to be done away with immediately.
Speaking of massive reform, I think this is pretty recent news, but Chessie Boudin, I think that's how you pronounce it. He's recently elected San Fran DA. So apparently he's been pushing for like massive reform in our prison system.
Oh yeah, I remember.
In San Francisco, and like fighting for criminal justice reform.
Yes, yeah. Didn't he just recently? He just recently won, and in San Francisco, or it may have been all of California, they banned private prisons, which is amazing. Yeah, that's huge.
Amazing.
California has so many people in jail right now. I mean, obviously California is a fucking cesspool because the ridiculous property prices, especially in places like San Francisco.
Crazy, their GPD do. Too.
Yeah. I mean, it's
they
ridiculous.
Can be their own country basically if they wanted to.
Yeah, they absolutely can. And I mean, I don't know. It's just the fact that we live in the richest country in the world, like that you can have a suburb with like people whose net income is like $500,000 a year, or like even in the millions, and then like on the very next street over, you have people living in tents. It's unbelievable. Have you ever been to a big city, Pilot?
Yeah, New York.
Yeah, New York. Okay, so you know exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah. Like, you're literally walking around seeing skyscrapers on your left and right, and there's homeless people in the streets. Like, the juxtaposition between that. I live in Knoxville, Tennessee. It's a pretty decently sized city. And, I mean, of course we have homeless people, and of course they're roaming around, but it's such a big place, you don't really see it so much. Every time I go to a place like Nashville, or a place like New York City, or a place like Boston, it sickens me. Pilot, it sickens me. Yeah. You walk around and you see people living in fucking filth, man. Like, they have nowhere to go, especially in Boston. When we went to the Counter-Strike major, man, it was the middle of the winter. It was snowing. It was literally like sub 5 degrees outside, and there are still homeless people just literally living out there, and no one helps them. It sickens me, dude. I want to throw up just thinking about it.
It's crazy. Like, I think I heard something too that like we have the most homeless people die in the United States than like other countries. Isn't that right?
Yeah, it's because, I mean, it actually is pretty dangerous to live in a lot of places in the United States, like climate wise. people don't understand that because they've never been homeless, you know. And I'm not advocating, you know, be homeless, go live a homeless life. Of course,
honestly, in Florida too, like sometimes it's like 102 degrees
Yeah.
outside, and like people are living in that sun.
Yeah,
like,
more homeless people die during the summer than do during the winter. A lot of people don't know that. And it's because they get dehydrated, they die of exposure. Like it's disgusting. And I mean, no one will help them. And I think a big reason is because it's not that people don't have empathy. It's just that people have a hard time
They have a
empathizing with
bad
something that
image.
they've never experienced. Yeah, that too. But also like, and this ties in with that because like if you're a person, a normal person, like you're just a working class person, you're not rich or anything, but you've never been homeless, you just be like, I mean, if I can do it, then these fucking guys can do it. You know what I mean? Like, what?
Yeah.
Why are they homeless? Like, they're probably on drugs. You know what I mean? That's a big one. People will say they're probably on drugs.
I think they've been like seen as a bad thing in like media, like, you know,
Yeah.
we call them homeless now, but you know they're called
Yeah,
like hobos.
Yeah,
and, like,
exactly.
you know, gypsies and stuff like that. Like
Yeah.
just like people we don't really know much about. But,
Right.
like, they're living.
They're
on the
just
streets and,
outsiders.
like, trying to live day to day. Like they're literally living day to day, moment to moment. Like when are they gonna get their next food and stuff
Yep.
like that. It's sad.
Yeah. It is. It's horrific. And the fact that places like San Francisco literally just have apartment complexes empty because no one can afford the fucking rent while there are people living in tents outside is ridiculous. Those people should just storm those fucking places and live there anyway. Fuck the people that are owning these complexes that on land that is just artificially exploded in price because fucking Facebook bought an office complex 10 miles away is sickening, and those people should be separated from their capital immediately. That shit needs to be claimed by the government. The government just needs to build public housing, period. But like, there needs to be
100%.
laws and taxes for people who allow their properties to just sit vacant with no people because no one can afford the fucking rent. That is disgusting.
That's the thing in China actually right now. There's like massive skyscrapers that are just empty because people can't afford to live in them.
Yes, isn't that crazy?
Empty buildings.
What is the point of building it? And like, I mean, obviously the point is because, you know, people will come into these gentrified areas, build a fucking apartment complex 50 stories high with rents that are like 5 times as much as the average person can afford because they are hoping to attract rich people there. But like, it's like feudalism. Do you know what feudalism is?
Yeah,
it's like
medieval era.
yes, because they're just all revolving around the lord. You know what I mean? Like the thing with feudalism is like peasants couldn't revolt because the lord had everything. They had access to all the capital. Like at that time it was things like land and food, but now it's things like it's money basically. Like these people have access to the capital, and if you want to have access to their fucking table scraps, you have to surround them. You have to yes, exactly. You have to live in their sphere. You have to endure the rules and parameters set out by these people so that hopefully you can suckle the fucking teat of Zuckerberg's third 7,000 square foot office in the 30-mile radius that is raising your rent 7,000 times. And like people get kicked out of their apartments. Like they'll have an apartment with an affordable rent, and then like a Facebook or an Amazon will come into their city, and then suddenly they find their rent. Yeah, suddenly they're like, hey, your rent's going to go up to $3,000 a month, and it was like $80 a month. And then they're like,
it's an empty building.
Exactly. And then they move out and it's empty. It's fucking disgusting. Fuck
Have you
this
seen
government.
those images on Reddit and stuff like that of like them putting like spikes and like poles in areas where homeless people would sleep?
Oh my god.
That's so fucking like people are like, oh, there's homeless people, they're gonna lower my property value.
Yes.
You know what I mean, like,
yeah, it's
and they go to
horrific.
these links to make sure that they're not there anymore.
If you do that, you are a fucking human scum. Like, you should just look in the mirror every day and be disgusted at your fucking reflection. What? Who can wake up in the morning and do something like that? You know what I mean, man? Am I crazy? Is that just me?
I mean,
like, do you not feel guilt when you do things that hurt other people? Because I can't just do that kind of shit.
I mean, it's the thing is they don't think that they're people. Like, yes, they do agree that they're humans, but they're not them. You know?
They don't deserve.
Like,
they don't
there's
deserve the
me
comfort.
And there's me and there's them.
Yeah. God.
They're not me, so why would they care about them?
Yep. Why should I care about them? That's the question. Yep. And they can't answer that. God.
Speaking of
Can we talk
the
about something
apes.
else? Can we
Yeah.
talk about something else? Thank you so much for just bringing my mood. I mean, I guess I started it with the Rodney Reed shit, but like, God, man, that was such a depressing conversation. Let's move on.
So I was like looking around to find stuff to talk about, and I found this I can't say this theory,
Hypothesis.
right? It's not really a theory, but
It's a
it's
game
called the Stone Ape
theory.
theory. And
Sorry, what? Sorry, it's called the what?
the Stoned Ape theory.
Okay.
And it's a controversial theory from Terence McKenna, which
Okay.
states that basically human evolution came as a result from the ingestion of psychedelic mushrooms, psilocybin mushrooms. And that's like how our brains, because there's the thing where our brains increased and double in size in a 200,000 year span, and that's absolutely crazy. So people like this is one of his theories, like of how this can happen. So when you take mushrooms, that like alights neurons, like it allows for new neurons in your brain to like form and start firing and like going off and stuff like that. And he theorizes that like we've been eating mushrooms for so long that this allowed our brain to get bigger and culture and language and stuff like that.
I'm just imagining like the virgin meme where it's like virgin guy doesn't eat psilocybin mushrooms. The Chad Homo sapien eats psilocybin mushrooms, has opposable thumbs.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And another interesting thing was that the Japanese actually tested a slime mold through a maze, and it would make the most efficient path to the food when they placed like a couple of oats like around the maze, right? And they also did another test where they just had like they put where Japanese cities would be, like in like Tokyo and stuff like that, and they allowed the mold to grow, and it made the most efficient pathways to those like cities, which are the oats, the food source, and it made it even more efficient than the Japanese have their subway system.
That's
today.
funny. Oh my god.
And so this is like proof, quote unquote, that like mold and like stuff like that has intelligence.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I wouldn't say intelligence, but I mean, I guess
Yeah.
on some level. Wait, is that related to the the
that's
mushrooms?
related to the stone ape? Yeah,
Oh.
because they're also trying to say that mushrooms are like I'm a fungus man and you're a
Oh,
fungus
okay,
man.
I
Like
get
they're
it.
like they're so like intertwined with our evolution.
Oh, right.
Eventually, we could be able to speak to the mushrooms.
Isn't it true that mushrooms are closer to humans than like humans are to something
Yeah,
that seems like it would be
apparently,
closer?
like mushrooms are like the closest thing or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, very close.
I mean, so this fucking weirdo, he's literally just feeding mushrooms to shit, and he's like, dude, it's changing your fucking brain, bro. It's expanding the fuck out of your mind. This is how we became smart people from apey boys. We ate lots of fucking mushrooms. Is that really?
Like his thing was like, when we were apes roaming the savannas in Africa,
Yeah.
like, there was all these, different animals and stuff, like they would, in their feces, the psilocybin mushrooms, would come out and they're big and they're large and they're visible.
Yeah.
So like, they would eat them as a constant food source.
What? I mean,
Yeah,
I guess.
they hunted,
Can you
the
eat
animals.
psilocybin like as
And
food?
and the mushrooms. I mean, I guess according to this theory.
Maybe if they're like low, maybe they're like psilocybin mushrooms, but they weren't the ones that get you fucked up.
I mean, I think the ones that we have nowadays that get us super fucked up are, they're GMO'd. They've been bred
Maybe,
to
yeah.
be stronger.
So they were
you know
just
what
like, dude, they were microdosing. Holy
Yeah, they're
shit!
record- yeah.
Wait. So that's what his theory is. His theory is that these people
Yeah,
were
they-
microdosing the whole time.
Yeah, and then
Oh my
why-
god, that's actually so genius. That might be true, dude. I've heard about microdosing. A lot of people do it with LSD. They'll take like a tab of LSD and cut it up into like 50 doses or whatever. So it's just like a tiny little dose. You don't feel it, but apparently like it opens your brain or whatever. It turns you into the
Yeah.
Chad meme.
I really want to do LSD or mushrooms.
I do
honestly.
too, bro. We
And,
should
like, record
we should
myself.
meet up and do LSD. And we should do a podcast while we're fucked
Yeah,
up.
yeah, that'd be funny.
That would be so awesome. I feel like we'd get a lot of insights. Dude, that's actually blowing my mind, though. I guess the science is still kind of out on psychedelics, right? We don't really know how
Yeah.
useful they are. But
Psilocybin's actually legalized in Colorado. if
I
I'm not
heard
mistaken.
about that, yeah. Yeah, I heard about that. Well, it's decriminalized, right? So it's just
Yeah,
like, it's not illegal.
so-
But,
no.
well, it is illegal, but it's not like, you won't get in trouble for it. But,
Yeah.
but I don't know, like, I'm excited to see the scientific studies that are going to come out of psychedelics, because I've always wanted to try it, but I'm kind of afraid. I have a lot of mental fuckeries, a lot of mental diseases and stuff, and I don't know how it would like interact with it. But I don't know. I want to try it. I want to take a huge dose and just like die. Not die in real life, but like die in my consciousness.
Ego death, yeah.
Ego death.
I want to speak to myself like when I'm on mushrooms and see if I can like get any like inner, like my true inner thoughts and like how I feel about myself.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Do you think it's like a spiritual thing, or is it like a science thing?
I think it's honestly, I think it's obviously a science thing, but like you really are speaking to like yourself, you know what I mean? Like you'll be way easier.
Yeah, that's how I see it too. I know a lot of people think it's like a spiritual thing. I don't believe in that, all that shit, but like some people think it's like a religious thing, or like you're communicating with like spirits or whatever. I just think that even if
you're tricking your brain, basically.
Yeah, it doesn't make it less important. The fact that it's not spiritual to me, it doesn't make it less.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, because I mean the effect that it has on you is still real.
Yeah, since like your ego's died, like you can't tell like who's you. So when you're looking into a mirror, you're not talking to yourself. You're talking to your brain or whatever. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, because you can't tell who you are right now currently.
Yeah,
but I thought it was an interesting theory. There's like a lot of like flaws and like stuff like that.
Oh
so,
yeah,
like,
I mean the evolution thing is total fucking bullshit. But like it is interesting. An interesting question about microdosing. I could believe that. I really could.
Yeah, I thought it was super interesting.
I mean, people did not evolve because they ate mushrooms. That's crazy. Of course, that's not true.
But I think our culture might have advanced significantly. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. I can see that. Yeah. Yeah, maybe they like had creative ideas of art, for example.
Because like I've never been on mushrooms, of course, right? But like apparently you see all these like geometric like shapes and like all this stuff. So like because of the the land landscape and stuff like that. So like squares and like stuff like that.
Right. Yeah.
Triangles.
It's interesting. Maybe all those cave paintings that are like on the walls were just.
Oh yeah. I've also when I was looking into that, apparently like it's confirmed that the shaman like these high ape shamans like actually were on like some psychedelic substance when doing these cave paintings.
Right. Yeah. It's like ayahuasca. You ever heard that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the South American version, right? But it's basically the same. It's like DMT. Like leaf and roots. It's more like DMT, but DMT, still same idea. Psychedelics.
Yeah, when I was in Ecuador, I had the ingredients to make it, but like some alcohol got spit on it, and we just kind of threw it away. Wow. So I really got to make it.
It's not illegal. The stuff to make it is not illegal.
The ingredients aren't illegal.
Yeah. Once you make it, it is illegal. But
yeah, the substance. But you can buy like kits online apparently.
Yeah, I'm not saying to our listeners that if you wanted to do that, you should, because it would open your mind and enlighten you. But
saying you should use illicit drugs.
Yeah, I would never say that. But I'm just saying that none of the ingredients are illegal, and you can Google it right now. It's not illegal, and it's really easy. And I think it's probably a great experience. But I'm not recommending it.
Did you hear the? Obviously you heard. We were talking about the UFO, U.S. Navy aircraft.
Okay. Did we talk about this on the last episode?
No, we didn't.
Okay, but this was off podcast then. Yeah. Okay. Let me just say before you say anything, I am not convinced that this shit is real. Like I've had time to think about it, bro. It's obviously fake, right?
How?
It's obviously fake. Because okay, let's explain the video. Go ahead and explain the video.
So it's a video of a Tic Tac like object. Apparently, it was 40 feet long. That goes from ocean level to 1,200 feet, 12,000 feet in altitude, and then it accelerated in less than 2 seconds away from these sensors.
So like, explain what we're looking at though.
What do you mean? It's a Tic Tac? So
yeah. So no, it's a video shot from like a jet.
Oh
so
yeah,
like those cameras from like Modern Warfare when you're shooting what are they called? A Predator missile. Like in Modern Warfare 2 when you're shooting the Predator missile and you get that weird screen where it's like FLIR mode where you can see like the heat map and it's like white on gray.
Yeah.
It's basically a video like that. So you're looking at the sky and you see clouds in the background, but it's all like in grayscale. And you see like the silhouette of what appears to be a flying tic tac or whatever what you want to call it. And basically, like, yeah, like Pilot said, it's flying the fuck around. It's like accelerating. It's moving in ways that seem unnatural. Like planes don't work that way. You know what I mean? Like it's doing things that, like, if you saw it in a movie, you'd be like, wow, that's so unrealistic. It's doing things like that. And what did they say, Pilot?
They basically, it was like recorded obviously off U.S. Navy aircraft, and you can hear the pilots talking about it. It's like, whoa, look at that! Like, what is that? Like,
Yeah.
I can't believe this is happening right now.
That's what makes me think it's fake.
And like he also said at some point, like there was more.
Yeah, in the video you only see one, but
like
apparently there's more than one.
And,
yeah, he says a fleet. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, fleet. And I was like, well, you don't see them in the sensors, obviously, but the pilot does say it. And like, I don't know. I think it's real because there's been like U.S. Defense Department saying like, you know, this video is real. Like this isn't doctored or anything like that.
Okay, I believe the video is real.
That they had a $22 million program,
Yeah.
and they looked over this footage, doing research, and even a Harvard scientist saying that this video is real. So it's honestly kind of crazy. Like, I don't know, like, what if this is real? Or if it's a fake, it's one of the best fakes I've ever seen.
Yeah, okay. I believe that the video is real. I just don't think that the content of the video is, like, what is actually happening. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? I think that, like there
we're
are
being
so
shown,
many...
like, a worse video of what's going on? Or
No, not the quality. The things that we're looking at are actually totally explainable, but they're being given to us in a context that is, like, making it seem like it's crazy. For example, the video was taken over the coast of Florida, so like, and I think it was what was the year? Does it say what year it was?
I think it was 2017.
Yeah, I think it was like 2015 or 2017, either one.
Yeah,
but so it wasn't long ago. So my thought is, like, what if it's a drone or something? And I can believe that, because in the video, like, it does this weird thing where it, like, rotates. It's shaped like a drone. Like, if you took the video and I told you it was a drone,
they said it's 40 foot long though. So like,
yeah, 40 feet long
drone. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I mean, like, doesn't that seem more likely to you than it would be, like, because if it were a real, like, aircraft, it's technology that we don't, like, that doesn't exist. Yes, like it. Not necessarily alien, but, like, if it does exist, then this technology, we don't know about it. Like, it's not discovered to the everyday human. You know what I mean? Like, that's what makes me think, okay, it must have another explanation, because that technology just simply does not exist. You know what I mean? And it seems that it breaks the laws of physics as well. So
yeah,
it makes me think that it's not a flying thing. I actually had a theory. Do you remember what my theory was last night?
No.
I was saying that, like, the instruments of that specific plane are broken. So my logic behind that is this: a lot of different pilots reportedly saw it. I don't know. There's actually more than There's 2 videos, and then there apparently are reports from other pilots, including ones that aren't included in the video.
Since 2004.
Yeah, since 2004. So apparently it's been going on for over a decade. And, like, there's multiple different people that reportedly seen it. And, like, their accounts seem to line up, so they attribute it to the same thing. Although, first of all, I don't think that that's fair. But let's assume that it is all the same thing. It would make sense if the planes that these pilots were flying, not each individual plane, but the actual model of that plane, if it had a problem with the sensor that was causing it to have the same problem in each plane, and, like, that was what they were seeing, that would not surprise me.
I replied to, now I remember what you said yesterday, and what I responded to, you know, what you said is that, like, I don't know, for me it seems more likely that it could be real if both, like, the pilots are seeing it. I don't know, because, like, how likely is it that both of their jets are malfunctioning? Like, their sensors
that's what I'm saying.
working?
I think that, like, what if it was built into the jet? Like, what if like when they designed the jet, it's like a design flaw. What if when they designed the jet, they, like, fucked up the sensor somehow, and, like, it works in almost every single case, but let's say, like, over the coast of Florida, there's some weird thing in the atmosphere that makes the instruments malfunction in that area. Like,
I don't really know how sensors work, but
yeah, I don't either. So I'm just saying, like, I don't know, like, it seems more likely than aliens, though, at the very least.
I mean, we don't know what this is.
Yeah,
like, obviously.
True. Yeah,
and it could be nothing. It could be something.
It is probably nothing. Like,
But
let's
most
be
likely
completely
nothing.
fair.
Yeah, I feel like if people knew about aliens, or if someone in the world knew about aliens, it would already be out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or
And like,
Trump would have said something. He's like, guys, listen, aliens, the real.
yeah, and it
I don't
wouldn't be
think
the
he knows
government.
this shit. I would be like, oh shit, he just tweeted aliens are fucking real.
True, and it wouldn't even be the government that discovered it. It would be some fucking fat Cheeto-fingered asshole from like Wisconsin in his mom's basement,
And he
Cheeto-fingered up.
finally hacked into the fucking Area
Yes, and
51.
he hacks into the Hubble Space Telescope and like he actually zooms in to like
a
the
space
ass.
alien.
Yeah, he zooms into like the ass of a thick space alien and he posts it on 4chan and says, "That ass though, clap forehead." And then fucking the government is like, "What is this shit?" And that's how we discover aliens. It would never be like a secret government program. That's just ridiculous. Oh my god.
But that I don't know why. Something I was questioning about the article too is like, why is this just now popping up? Like, this article was posted in like September 18th, 2019, I believe. Like, but you know, there's been a report since 2004, so like, it's been under the wraps for I don't know how long since like the video just came out, like the one
Right,
we
yeah.
saw. So like, why are people not talking about this 2 years after the fact that this been declassified?
Right, and let's say that the government did discover aliens, like if they knew that it was aliens, they know, or like if they had doubt and they thought, okay, this actually, holy shit, this might be aliens. There's no way that that video would have been allowed to release. No fucking way. No, absolutely no way. Like they declassified it. It wasn't even leaked or anything. They declassified it. So therefore, the video is not alien. I don't think that there's no intelligent life like humans out there. No way.
Yeah.
Or, not within like reaching distance of us anyway.
I agree. I mean, the closest like habitable life is like, isn't it still like 1.2 like light years away?
The closest star?
The closest like habitable star.
Oh yeah. Well, but we know those aren't populated because we can literally see them. So I mean, like the closest one.
Well, is it though? Because like, isn't like light like we're still like waiting for the image. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, but it's only 1 year away. It's only 1 year out of sync. So like, if something's 1 light year away, we're seeing 1 year. What happened for them? What happened 1 year ago? So I mean, like, it's not that crazy. But like, if you look at a star that's like 3,000 light years away, yeah, like that star is probably dead, and you just haven't caught up yet.
Yeah.
It's crazy how that shit works, bro. That blows my mind every time I think about it. Relativity? How the fuck that work? Well, that's not even relativity, but light?
Yeah.
How'd that work?
Literally, light. How do you work?
I don't know. How do you
I
work?
mean, if you have anything to bring up, I think I have our question, our philosophy.
Oh, our
question
philosophy question? We're making this a thing,
week.
aren't we?
Yeah.
Oh shit. Okay, I'm ready. Hit me.
Assuming evolution is correct, do you think that if humans went extinct, another species as intelligent as humans would evolve?
This is more of a biology question, but I don't know. What are your thoughts?
Honestly, I've had a theory on this already.
Oh,
I
okay,
think
go ahead.
ants would be the next human thing to evolve.
Well, okay, you're gonna have to explain that way more clearly than you just did.
So basically, ants already have societies all over the world, right? They in their
Right.
colonies and stuff like that. They have a system in place already. They have language. I mean, I feel like give it a couple million years, bro. Like ants are all over the fucking world. They're everywhere. I think it's like for every one human, there's like a million ants, I think.
Oh yeah, I think that's true. I've heard that before. That's crazy to think about, though, right?
Yeah, it's absolutely insane. So I think, given some time, they could, be more intelligent. You know what I mean? Like,
But why would they be more intelligent? I think here's the bottom line. Like, it would only happen if the environment pressured it to happen.
Yeah, of
So,
course,
like,
for anything, really.
Right. So like if humans went extinct tomorrow, like if everyone just got Thanos, like it might be that intelligence is not really necessary to survive anymore, and therefore like no intelligent species would ever evolve because it's not necessary. Like the only reason that humans are intelligent is because our environment, like,
Oops.
in order for us to survive, well, yeah, first of all, it's an accident in the sense that it randomly, there was a mutation, a series of mutations that made us more intelligent, and then just by happenstance those more intelligent people were more likely to survive and reproduce. So like if ants were to become more intelligent, it would be because their environment meant that, yeah, the smarter we are, the more likely we are to fuck, and the more likely we are to have kids.
Well, the thing is too is that like there's constant ant war. There's like there's great ant wars everywhere.
Right. Yeah. I think they already do have like a level of intelligence, right?
Yeah.
They just don't. They're not like us.
Yeah. I think like what if like the pressure for them to become more intelligent was they need more stronger tactics to defeat these other ant armies that are invading their colonies. So they become like master tacticians or something like that.
Yeah.
And
they get really intelligent, but only on like how to wage war. Dude, that's crazy. This is literally that's how Gazorpazorp happened in Rick and Morty, bro. They were really smart, but only at raging war. It's because there were humans there, but they went extinct, and then those are the ants.
Yeah, but also I think since they're master tacticians now, they could eat on bigger things. So eventually be mammals, small mammals, birds.
Dude, that would be crazy. It'd be like a raid
elephants
boss.
And shit.
It would be like a fucking raid boss. There would be 3 trillion ants just surrounding an elephant, like shooting fucking miniature bow and arrows at it.
Yeah, and then they take the elephant down and fucking eat him.
Yeah,
and then like
dude, an elephant would last for so fucking long.
I know, right?
Ant. Oh my god, that would be like 10 generations of ants could feast on that motherfucker, dude. Assuming they live to be like 100.
They could defend the food from like predators, and they would eat the predators.
And they would build colonies around the food because that makes sense.
Yeah, and like I think they could accidentally discover fire.
You want to write a book about this, bro? Dude, this is a great idea. I feel like we shouldn't release this.
I mean, just a few moments ago, you're like, ants. Yeah, no.
I'm sorry for doubting you, bro. I was not vibing.
And now you're like, fucking ants, bro? Next human? Of course, I can see it.
Now I'm fully vibed, bro. Listen, okay, to answer your philosophy question, I think that people are going to be, in the coming years, like, assuming that we eventually reach a level in society where, like, everyone is equal and everything's great, like, I think a philosophy question we will have to tackle with then is the idea that intelligence is somehow, like, important in any way. For example, people, like, step on ants all the time. They don't give a fuck because they're little shitty ants. But like we were just talking about, like, ants live very unique, vibrant lives. They're intelligent. They're not self-aware.
Like if their queen dies, their colony dies.
Yeah, like
they can't produce anymore.
Their lives are complex, and each individual ant is making decisions based on his and her circumstance. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean they learn. Yeah.
Yes.
They learn like this is an area we can this is a new area. Like, hey guys, there's more land we can cover over here.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah, and they can't do fucking calculus.
The entire colony in like less than like probably 10 seconds, I would imagine. Like they communicate so fast and efficiently.
Yes. Yeah, and like they can't do calculus. They don't do fucking traveling circuses and shit. Of course not. But like they're reacting to their environment the same way you and I are. Like I feel like people are gonna have to tackle with the idea that like all life is of equal value. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but
I'm not saying that
crazy?
like I'm not saying like if you run over an ant, you're like you're literally the worst human being. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying like if you're making a value statement about someone, intelligence does not come into the equation because in reality, it's all this. We're all working by the same rules. You know what I mean? Like it's not different because the ant doesn't know how to do calculus. The ant doesn't know how to do philosophy. That doesn't make its life necessarily worth less. Or if it does, you can't use intelligence as a reason why.
But you know what's interesting actually? Since ants produce so fast, so there was this one thing. There's these ants in one colony, and they spread to like the other side of the creek, and literally less than it would take. That became a different ant species.
Yeah.
They've been living, and they would fight each other, and that's how a lot of ants are actually. They'll fight like in between their species. Like because it's been so long since they've procreated with each other that like that's technically they can't mate anymore and they fight and shit.
Yep, time, distance, and pressure, baby. That's the only 3 conditions for a new species.
So I'm thinking like would that affect their rise to being the next humans? Do you think?
I mean, not really because like assuming like because they thrive now, right?
Yeah, obviously.
So
they thrive in these city environments, and they thrive in every environment.
Yeah. So I mean, like, I don't think so. I don't see why it would.
Yeah, but
maybe it would, in the sense that like if they became more intelligent, they would become so good at like killing each other that maybe they would create like ant nukes, and like they would just destroy Earth because they were so so concerned with killing each other. Maybe that.
yeah, maybe.
Well, some people say, have you ever heard of Fermi's paradox?
Yeah.
Yeah, like you know the idea of a great filter.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some people think that waging war is one
It's
of the
one of the
great filters,
Yeah.
in the sense that like if you become so intelligent, or if you're intelligent and get really good and get a lot of knowledge, eventually you're going to be able to create a weapon that's so powerful that you'll just extinct yourself instantly. So like if that is possible, then you have to always entertain the possibility that that will happen eventually. And of course the universe is infinite, so if it can happen, it probably will happen at some point. The question is just when. I think that's a good time to call it. What do you think, Pilot?
Yeah, I agree.
Thank
Well,
you guys
thank
for
you for
listening.
watching.
That was fun. That was good. That was
Listening,
good.
yeah. Thank you for listening to what was the podcast called?
Left to the South. Yeah,
Left to the South
baby.
podcast, episode 2.
Ciao.